1997. 6 months after its release in Japan, Bulk Slash came staggering to the shores of North America. While games at the time were known for their subpar voice acting and massive changes to their localization, this game was different. Bulk Slash had a stellar translation, professional voice actors, and included great quality of life fixes. It was the game localization that made even working designs green with envy. It was a fantastic game, it was a fantastic effort, but this was all just a fantastical piece of fiction. The game was never localized, or even considered for localization. Just another story of a Japanese Saturn game stuck on the shores of Japan. However, 24 years later, a group of dedicated fans would make this fantasy a true reality.
What a blast! Target destroyed. That's the spirit. I'm picking up a bogey, Corporal.
On the left! Don't get in my way!
What is this, some kind of goodbye note? Jeez, this chick had some crazy ideas.
If you do not at least slightly enjoy giant fighting robots, then you probably didn't make it this far into the video. If you do, Bulk Slash is a must-play. You control Chris inside his great blue transforming mech. It can traverse the grounds, firing off large charge bombs, streams of bullets when the bomb is uncharged, and a great beam sword when up close. You can jump, strafe, and turn to get around. If that's not enough movement options, then press A to turn into a plane. When flying, your mech charges up a store of missiles that automatically lock onto targets as you soar. Press B to fire them off, and hold it to fire off a stream of bullets from the skies. Pressing C will scroll through 4 different speeds, an easy thing to get used to in exchange for simple controls.
Onwards.
You can collect sub-weapons like a flamethrower, napalm, and a Bezier homing beam straight out of Raiden 2. But these can only be used on the ground. The actual game only takes about an hour or less to beat, provided you have a successful playthrough.
Take him out!
It has 7 stages, sort of allowing you to choose the order in which you play them, like in Thunder Force 5. This parallel makes sense, since Thunder Force devs worked on Bulk Slash.
Kindly select a stage, if you please.
The first 3 stages are interchangeable. After beating them, you can choose your order for stages 4, 5, and 6. 7 will always be the last stage. You can see on this beautiful set of Gons that each stage is on a different planet. A great excuse to have an eclectic variety of environments.
Holy moly!
Each stage has a basic set of objectives, ending with a big boss fight.
Something's coming. Onwards.
Each stage also has its own Miss Navigator.
Leone Road, Sergeant First Class reporting.
They help guide you to your targets with an orange arrow, and by telling you where to go.
Straight ahead.
Each is packed with her own fun quips, swears, and screams.
It's behind us.
The first one's easy to get. She's right there. The others are sort of hidden in different spots, requiring you to go out of your way to find them.
How do you do? I am Medical Flare.
You don't have to find all of them though. Beating the game with a particular miss unlocks her, allowing you to save the game and play through again, starting with that miss. You can level her up by getting loads of points at the end of the game, often granting new abilities when playing with that miss later. If you beat the game once with every miss, you unlock the hidden miss in stage 7 behind this door. They all have their own personality and some have a unique accent. At least they do in the patched version.
Pick a dang stage.
Many carry North American accents, though Medical is British, and Cologne sounds German.
Unidentified Oh mein Gott, der ist ja gigantisch.
Many are kind yet professional, while others, like Naira found in stage 4, will put her boot on your neck and force you to call her mommy.
Deploy, Corporal. Straight ahead.
Rupia in stage 5 has a southern United States accent.
More to the right. The target's close by.
From the land where the sweet tea's actually sweet, and the Waffle House waitresses call you hun.
You're going to Blau, right?
She's probably the SSG's favorite Bulk Slash waifu, though I'm not 100% sure. In the English patch, I really enjoy her tone when the target's behind you.
It's behind us.
Level objectives are usually destroy 4 or 5 of the same target,
Target destroyed.
but some are different. Stage 3 has you escort a royal ship around the level's borders by destroying anti-air turrets, the only enjoyable escort mission in video game history. Sorry, Ego.
Straight ahead.
Stage 4 takes you to space and has you carefully fly bombs to set targets, blowing up this large enemy ship. Stage 5, it's all indoors, sending you down 5 floors of narrow passageways and sneaky robo-baddies.
Well, I'll be damned.
The last stage has multiple floors, including a whopping 3 boss fights before your final showdown with Chris's longtime childhood friend, Reesin Lavia.
Lieutenant Reason Lavia. Sworn enemy to your kind.
She puts up a tough fight. It takes about 45 minutes to beat, unless you die and choose not to continue. Leveling up misses by beating the game with each one, unlocks her voiceover lines in the sound test menu, and grants loads of replayability.
Bezier blaster. Napalm blaster.
Depending on how well you blew stuff up, you can also unlock artwork for the miss you fought alongside.
Onwards.
The explosive, breathtaking action does not have any breaks at all, keeping most players willing to come back for another round.
Oh, wow.
To top off this extremely well-designed gameplay, the
Creamy 3D graphics
and digitized sprites are a great show of how Saturn marries the two graphic styles. Hudson does a great job of using the Saturn to its potential, even though the draw distance is less than desirable.
You don't disappoint.
This can make some boss fights a bit of a challenge, since they disappear when far away. I enjoy how the mech is a billboarded 2D sprite during gameplay, but on these live camera shots of a boss's entrance, you can see it turns into a 3D polygonal model. Any Saturn owner needs to play Bulk Slash. If you have a retro-loving friend who doesn't own a Saturn yet, make them play Bulk Slash and it will convert them. Trust me, I did that, and it worked. It does have plenty of dialogue that most Westerners will not understand, along with some menu text when choosing a stage. But getting the hang of how this plays and what you're supposed to do in each level is not hard at all. Anyone can pick this up and beat it. The misses do give you directions in Japanese, sort of like in Burning Rangers, but understanding this is not necessary. You do miss out on some of the plot points and character developing dialogue, so being able to understand this will complete the Bulk Slash experience. One aspect of the game that might get overlooked is its fire music. The game has a fantastic soundtrack. Now it's up in full on YouTube thanks to Shadow Mask, who also worked on the project assisting the music and sound effects. Jiggle85 and his brother also took part in recreating the music that had overlapping voice acting and no original soundtrack to use as a base. It was a daunting task, but came out sounding pretty fantastic.
Next time you pick on Margaret, there'll be trouble. Launching operation. Straight ahead.
This killer soundtrack might fool you into thinking it's Redbook audio, but it isn't. They're using that good old Yamaha chip for a well-composed MIDI soundtrack.
All right.
Finding the composer's information seems to be difficult. Searching online doesn't seem to give any immediate results, besides a person named Takeshi Sato. They're so obscure we couldn't even find a picture of them online. Looking at their VGMD page and Moby Games page, they previously worked as various sound engineer director positions on games such as Sakura Wars 1, 2, and 5, Blood Will Tell, Willy Wombat, Yoshi's Island DS, Jeanne d'Arc, and many more. They even had a small role in Police Knots doing Cleanup Check. In the credits of the game, it also shows a soundtrack production company listed as Tease Music Co. Limited, who in their own business description lists the business as making a sound. Before you ask, no, the T does not stand for Takeshi, but Taro Hara, the CEO of Tease Music Company. This company has a long history of working in video game soundtracks, dating back all the way to 1990, with more than 100 game soundtracks credited to them alone, which also include Wackenroder, Unfortunately, it's not known to what extent they did work on Bulk Slash, so all we know is they did indeed do some work on it.
Despite being an outstanding masterclass in mech battle excellence, Bulk Slash did not come out in North America or Europe. Mech games are absolutely marketable outside of Japan, proven by Virtual On and Gun Griffin both coming out in the West. It's really hard to find a video game nerd who doesn't like giant fighting robots. Saturn Bomberman hit the shelves of Japan in July of 1996. It took Hudson nearly a year to get this released in Europe, and more than a year to bring it to the United States, coming out in August of 1997. 1997 is the last good year for the US Saturn library. In 98, a measly 8 games trickled throughout this painful final year. Bulk Slash hit Japan in July of 97, so if they needed a year to get this to come out in the United States, it would have been on pace to release in late summer, early fall of 1998, possibly setting it up to be the second to last game in the US Saturn library. I mean, let's face it, the American Saturn was dead by this time. There would be very little marketability for Bulk Slash in this region. While Europe got a few more games in 1998, it was still a similar story. Very few games, and the Saturn was basically done at this point. It's also worth mentioning, Hudson made a ton of other Saturn games that never made it out of Japan, including not 1, but 2 additional Bomberman titles. This is also different from a typical Working Designs translation, since instead of text, Bulk Slash involves voicing countless lines within the game.
Target's close by.
It's behind us.
A publisher would need to find voice actors for about a dozen different characters to properly localize it. If you look at Usenet, you will find the small yet hardcore Saturn fanbase importing Bulk Slash right away. This guy was selling a copy for $5? Man, what I wouldn't give for a time machine right about now. The readers of this board gave it a glowing review. Western players loved this import. We can't help to imagine what would have happened if this did get localized. Bulk Slash is an extremely fun game for any arcade action fan, and its graphical style heavily complements the Saturn's hardware. If this hit in 1997 and was marketed properly, perhaps it could have breathed a little more life into the console's troubled Western journey. If it came out in 1998, it probably would have eaten dust just like Burning Rangers and Panzer Dragoon Saga, and probably would have shared the exorbitant price tag to boot. Back in February of 2021, SHIRO posted a poll about the most wanted games for a fan patch, with, of course, Princess Crown being the clear winner. Bulk Slash did come in 8th place with a total of 10 votes though. When Saturn Dave cross-posted this on Twitter, a user reached out by the name of Lacquerware, stating that he would gladly translate Bulk Slash if the patchers needed someone to do so, wanting to help out and get involved in the Saturn translation homebrew scene. We linked him to our Discord, and he later joined along with Danthrax. Momphis later saw their interest and joined them to start on the project. Seawin and a few others began joining them, and soon after, a fan translation was born.
Wow!
Development of this patch and the voice actor audition process is very well documented. Danthrax tells me there are 20 voice actors voicing 21 roles, as well as some patch team members adding crowd noise to Lyra's ending. This includes the 7 Miss Navigators, your player character, the main antagonists, and various small voice acting roles in the cutscenes. A quick disclaimer. I am the voice of the narrator in the final cutscene.
The United Planetary Federation Army broke their silence.
Fellow SHIRO bros Pat and Dave voice act as startled gearheads for Rupia's ending.
The hell? What's all this smoke? Watch out!
It was probably one of the coolest things I've experienced. While working and contributing to several translation patches, it's amazing to actually be a voice in one. Thanks again guys for including us in this amazing patch.
Fun fact. I also auditioned for the role of Chris in this case. Since I'm not experienced in acting, they were probably much better off going with Jonathan Boncher. My lines were a little too Symphony of the Night, if you know what I mean.
What you're talking about is nothing more than terrorism.
Stop it!
Luzine mics up for Reese and Lavia, the big bad.
Chris, you know what we've been through.
He's a young voice actor and illustrator whose work can be found on his website and Insta. The aforementioned Jonathan Boncher is Chris. That's a localized version of the name Cress.
You're wrong, Reason.
Boncher is a writer from Canada and personal friend of Lacquerware. Casual streamer, speedrunner, artist, and voice actress Edo Bean voices Leon Rhodes.
Oh, there's me.
Leonie Road, Sergeant First Class reporting.
She's very likely the first voice you'll hear if you're a newcomer to Bulk Slash, as she's right at the beginning of Stage 1. Speedrunning people and Twitch visitors might know her better as Poyo Girl.
Give a girl lip to blow?
Lyra Hart is Erin Leffe, a young voice actress you can find on Twitter.
I am Medical Flare.
Dark Misty plays Medical Flare. You can find Misty in the UK or on her popular YouTube channel, where she does yandere roleplay ASMR.
Pick me up, Violet.
Naira Savage is voiced by Racher, whose talents can be heard in a couple of Steam games.
You're going to blow, right?
Rupia Rude is done by Diana Aloko, another friend of Lacquerware, who's also an experienced singer and theater actress.
My navigation is kind of amazing.
Cologne Steiner is Saskia Amira, a friend of Mamfus who hails from Germany.
Having my voice in a video game is kind of like a dream come true.
Crouching Mouse voices the 7th and most elusive Miss, Kina DiBiase. Those in the Saturn homebrew scene might recognize her as having helped with the Sakura Wars English patch.
Shield recovered.
Since most of these roles are characters giving you directions, the patch devs felt it was critical to ensure they never get annoying. That's not much of a problem when us English blokes play the Japanese version, since we can't really understand the repetitive lines. Actually understanding them means they might become more annoying, if the lines sound bad.
To the right.
The fact that they were able to find talent to do this for free and sound pleasant to the ears is an accomplishment by itself.
Shield recovered. Oh, wow. To the left.
We all auditioned and recorded our lines primarily throughout the spring and summer months of 2021. The process was fairly straightforward. Each prospective voice actor signed up for the characters they wanted to try out for. The patch devs then sent us a few lines for respective roles, we recorded a few takes, and sent them over. From there, they decided who would be best for each role.
Onwards.
Assuming we all had decent mics, the patch developers would join us on a Discord voice call, coaching us through our lines while we recorded locally through Audacity. While listening in, they helped guide us through the correct tones and subtext that they had in mind as we record several takes. It worked well.
You don't disappoint. Mind the blast.
Some of the more lengthy roles, like the Miss Assistants, reportedly took about 4 hours per actor.
Whoa, oh, it's tank controls. Oh gosh.
One of the most frequent things brought up when talking about Bulk Slash are the controls. You strafe with the D-pad and turn with the shoulder buttons. By all known laws of 5th gen control schemes, this is backwards as hell. I personally think it makes sense when applied to the rest of the setup, but now we have an even better control option for Bulk Slash. Throughout the translation process, many of the developers had a desire to see how the game plays with a twin-stick implementation, sort of a cherry on top in the translation process. Knighted Dragon, who is assisting the team with the translation effort, noticed an extra control layout slot was left over, but not used in the code. So he used that extra slot and implemented this amazing peripheral. The layout implementation started with fire on the left trigger and call navigator on the right. When turning, the navigator is also called. The worst part about this implementation, however, is that turning would automatically lock onto the center of a boss, an initial complication when implementing the twin sticks. It wasn't too bad in the first few missions and boss battles, but when fighting the boss of the bomb area, it will continue to center aim in the middle of the boss's ship, stopping you from targeting the rest of the ship, which can become frustrating after a while. The second twin stick implementation switched the fire buttons to the right trigger and call navigator to the left. Turning no longer activates the navigator, but it still had that annoying lock-on when fighting against a boss. The final and last implementation perfected it, keeping everything else the same, but removing the annoying lock-on when turning. This has to be the definitive way, in my eyes, to play the game. I know Nick and myself talk about how odd the controls feel, but I think this gives the game a much needed fix. It makes you feel like you're actually piloting the ship.
You might be asking yourself, this is great and all, but how can I play this translation? Great question.
Get out of here!
Patching the English translation to a Japanese ROM of Bulk Slash is pretty easy. All you need to do is download the Sega Saturn Patcher by Knight of Dragon, insert your official Bulk Slash disc, or select an already ripped disk image, add the patch to the program, select the format you'd like to output to, and you should be good to go. ready to burn onto a blank disc or load into your favorite ODE. After that, sit back, relax, and enjoy blasting away through the world of Bulk Slash with glorious English text and dialogue. If English dubs killed your parents, the README has instructions on how to undub the patch while keeping the English text. There are no English subtitles for the navigator lines, since a combination of the way this game is programmed and the Saturn's hardware limitations make this not entirely possible. But if you want to take the charge and figure out how to do it, go for it.
To the rear. Fire blaster.
If you are a Saturn owner and you do not have a way to play backups, then find a way so you can play this fan-translated Bulk Slash. Not only is it an excellent game, but this is the definitive way to experience it if you're an English speaker who doesn't understand Japanese.
They're nearing the target. It's ahead. Wunderbar.
It's worth your time. At the very least, you should try out its excellent twin-stick support if you own the peripheral.
Well, I'll be damned. Target set. That leaves one to go. On the right.
I believe this will set a whole new precedent for fan translations moving forward for the Saturn. While many were content with just the fan translation, this team went above and beyond to implement voice acting into the game. Not to mention the addition of twin-stick support as we talked earlier. This has become more of a quality of life patch mixed with a translation patch.
Go straight.
Even though the dialogue is minimal, this took a giant team of people compared to other homebrew projects. There are several characters who need their own voice actors, coaching through recording, and people to then splice those audio files and patch them into the game. There's text on screen that needs to be translated and fit into programming constraints designed for a Japanese text sheet.
And today, the love that bloomed on that battlefield will...
Audio for ending cutscenes had to be entirely redone by the audio engineering talents of Shadow Mask. Not to mention programming and compression help from homebrew veterans like Knight of Dragon, Trekkies Unite, and Malenko. I'm certain there are others.
What?
This was a massive team effort in the homebrew community.
On the energy shots.
To top it all off, this was successfully accomplished in less than a year by a ragtag group of newcomers doing their first project, and they knocked it out of the f***ing park. They fully localized Bulk Slash, probably in less time than it would have taken Hudson, and I cannot wait to see what they do next for the Saturn community. For me, this is another portal into the parallel universe, in which the Saturn earned the respect it deserves during its heyday. I honestly think a more accurate portrayal of Western Bulk Slash in the 90s would have had worse voice actors and cheesy die monster dialogue. Instead, it sounds great, and that's absolutely not a problem. Even though the game is playable without understanding its dialogue and text, being able to play it in a language you understand just hits different.
Hell yeah.
I think back to the Spyro 2 Russian translation. Not a game you need to understand in order to play it. But the retro fans who natively speak Russian just ate it up. Now they can feel like it's their game. You could say the same about Bulk Slash for English speakers.
Target destroyed. Remaining and target. Shield recovered.
For those of you unaware, over the course of the last few months, both Saturn Dave and myself have been playing through the translation iterations, trying out the new Navigator dub, discussing changes made by the team, and even talked with the Navigator's voice actors as well. Oh, I just heard it. There's the line. Yeah. Throughout my time talking and working with the team, it has become something I look forward to seeing come through my Discord messages. I get to sit down with a ton of people I consider friends and discuss this amazing patch.
There's cheesy 90s pop culture references here.
Yeah, trying to reel that stuff in, but also make the script really feel like it was written in English to begin with as much as possible.
I want to thank each and everyone involved in this translation project. Danthrax, Seawen, Lackaware, Momphis, Shadow Mask, Galleon, Jiggle85, and the amazing voice acting cast that made this possible. If you found this video interesting, definitely subscribe to us on YouTube. We also do a weekly news show and live stream here on YouTube, where we talk about the new events in the Saturn community and Sega in general. You can also check us out on the Sega Saturn SHIRO website, where we post news, articles, and in-depth Saturn analysis. If you'd like to support us, check us out on Patreon, or buy some awesome merch on our Threadless store. Hey, nice shirts. Also, check out Nick's YouTube channel, Pandemonium Reviews Every US Saturn Game, which features many great reviews, documentary-level analysis, and featurettes on Sega Saturn games. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.
That's a nice name.
Yeah, all our ducks in a row. But it's kind of exciting to finally get this out to
Oh,
everybody.
it crashed our website! It crashed our website!
Oh my goodness.
Oh no!
I'm so sorry! It crashed our
Too much
website!
pent-up demand. Jeez.
Oh god, okay. Patrick's gonna have to do some Matrix stuff right now.